Dark Knights of Steel, issue 6, Tom Taylor writing with Yasmin Putri on the art. So we don't get any more of the Kents raising best Superman Bruce Wayne.
Shut up.
This issue, they're saving that for later. But we do get some intrigue here. So Tim Drake turns out he's a spy for
in the House of Storms.
Oh, he's a spy for Batman in the House of Storms, yes. And Constantine basically kind of figured this out, and he's drinking himself silly because of Jefferson's death, and knocks him out the room. When the others find out, when Jennifer finds out, she banishes him and tells him to leave. She's almost going to kill him, but is held back a little bit by Constantine. So he goes and tells them that they're coming for war. They're going to do this, and they think Zala killed Jefferson, and there was a whole boat full of witnesses. And Zala's like, "What?" And we said this last issue that I'm pretty convinced at this point that it was so blatant how she came and did that I'm pretty sure it's a shapeshifter or something and not her.
Yeah, well, and then with what we saw, what happened with Cal in one of the issues that has led to Super Bruce. Maybe it was, but now I'm not sure.
Possibly mind control, actually. I'd say maybe they're being controlled for brief periods. Yeah.
Right. Because now I'm not even sure what's going on with Cal. Because I thought what I had was like, oh no, he's protecting his seat. Now I'm not so sure seeing him, what happens with him.
Yeah, because we thought he was a straight up villain from what he did to Bruce. But now in this issue, he feels like he's not. So it could be that someone can control Kryptonians for periods of time and they don't remember it. Perhaps. Right.
And is this part of the Green Man thing? Like, is this...
Yeah.
Because there is something going on. Like you said, shapeshifter, mind control, whatever it is, these guys, the Kryptonians don't remember anything.
Yeah, they have no idea. Zala certainly. I mean, Cal's a little up in there. Like, he still could remember that, but it doesn't feel like he does. Right. But, yeah, so the big problem here, though, is that if they go to war... Because the Amazons have like a treaty with the Jeffersons and the Storms, it means that they have to come and fight by their side against the House of El.
But what if Zala's girlfriend, who's Diana of Themyscira, what if she's the leader?
Yeah, Waller's clearly implying if we kill off Hippolyta, then maybe we'll create a new era of peace and alliance because Zala and
such
Diana.
A Waller move, right? Like, even in a medieval setting, Waller is still trying to kill people for world peace. Yeah. So Kyle's whole thing is that he wants to fly off and try and prove to the Amazons that, not to go to war. That Zala didn't do this. So he flies off. I love that he said, because Capel's like, no man's allowed to set foot on Themyscira, and he's like, I've not set foot, because he's like hovering like an inch above the ground, and she's like, that is a technicality, and pulls out a sword. He's out of line, but he's right. And he ends up with a sword ran through him. They do not want him there.
No, they do not, and they end up keeping him captive in a chamber, and they're question him and torture him or whatever. The whole thing was quite interesting, but it's Lois who comes to see him, and this is the first time they're meeting. So obviously it's Lois and Clark. So you're like, this might go somewhere.
That got a cheap pop out of me.
Of course it did.
And then he's being bound by a golden rope.
Yeah, lasso, effectively. So he's brutally honest about things, which means that he at least believes that Zala didn't do any of this.
Right.
So
as far as he knows, it's the truth.
Yeah. And, but unfortunately, they've already left to go to war. That's the cliffhanger at the end of the issue.
They're sailing off.
Yeah.
We also get that Constantine is like, I know how to bring, I know how to bring the prince back, because they can't bring Jefferson back because he's missing a heart.
Well, we get to that because he didn't know that at first. What happens is he raises Etrigan, but then says, "Give me the head of the demon," and then it turns into Ra's al Ghul. So things are working, weirdly here in a fan fictiony way.
Which I love, because he's the demon's head. So what does he do? He's bonded with Etrigan.
So Ra's al Ghul goes to see the bodies, and it's him that says, "Yeah, Jefferson's, he's too dead. I can't bring him back, but the prince, I can bring him back though."
And I don't know if that just means he's going to like sort of, all right, let's go to Lazarus Pit and wake him up. But
right, which if he remembers, if he beats the madness before they go to war, he would remember who swooped him and dropped him, right?
Yeah.
Right?
And Raz says, I'll bring him back under the condition, Constantine, that you give me where the Titans are. You don't have to like do anything, but just tell me where they are. And I'm thinking, who are the Titans exactly in this example? And is one of them Damien, and that's why he wants them?
Yeah, maybe. I also thought like this is in a fanfiction-y way. These are monsters.
Okay,
like in the form of Titans,
actual Titans rather than the Teen Titans. The reason why obviously I don't expect Bruce has had a son, but I was thinking maybe he still has a grandson through Talia, just because because maybe that's why he wants. Because we've already seen so many other characters that could be on Titans that aren't, like they're Robins or the whatever, but they're doing stuff with the House of L or
and that made me think like maybe Raven or Cyborg, Cyborg, some magical mesh of man and machine, and or even Starfire is another form of an alien that's there.
But I mean, it could literally just be all the members we've not seen still as the Titans, but
So, but yeah, that was another thing. But like you said, this is kind of fan fiction-y in the best way, because it's constantly surprising me. Because I thought I had it figured out. I was like, oh well, Cal's just this is his kingdom. He's doing what he can to watch his throne. He doesn't want the bastard ever coming for it. That's why he took out Bruce. But now it almost seems like that fit of rage wasn't fully Cal. It was something else going on. So I'm wondering if there's a Brainiac contingent, if there's, if it has to, something along those lines, that, or I'm trying to think of a mind control person, a Max Lord person that's there. Because now that I think about it, Zala going off and dropping the prince was very much, what he used Superman for in that storyline that led to Infinite Crisis.
It will be back. It will be Max Lord. That will be Lord Maxwell.
right. Or Maxwell, Lord of whatever.
Something, yeah.
Yeah. So, it got my gears kicking that, I have no idea what's going on still, and we're halfway through this.
Yeah, obviously the art has been very consistent with Putri.
Putri's art here, very, very, just the soft colors in parts, just these medieval characters. I really love the design of Lois here, because it's still very much her, but it's just downstated enough.
It's very consistent. It's very tight and comfortable in the sense that I'm never worried about their anything feeling off with the art with Putri. I wouldn't say the coloring is necessarily to my taste. It's kind of it's perfectly suited for this setting and for this type of story. But because I'm not a huge fan of this type of story, typically, it doesn't appeal too much to me as much. But that's okay. But yeah, obviously all the usual stuff is very good there. So particularly the expressions when Jennifer's mad at Tim Drake for being a mole and things like that, like those moments sell really well, and I think that works. And I mentioned the moment where Tim tells the Queen and everyone else that they said Zala killed Jefferson. That reaction on Zala's face in that moment is just art. There's no dialogue to tell her, for her to say, "Oh, I didn't do that." It's just on her face, like, wait, what?
Yeah.
So props to the art, because it sold that expression, it sold that reaction on its own. So
yeah, for real.
So good. All right, what are you giving Dark Knights of Steel issue 6?
I'm gonna give this an 8.
I'm just gonna go with a 7. It just doesn't appeal to me quite as much, but I do think it's very tightly written and it's always an easy read. So, a 7 out of 10 for me.